Some people think that the ultimate goal of self-awareness is to figure out who they are. Like you're some kind of archaeological dig site, and if you just brush away enough dirt, you'll find a perfectly intact, shiny version of yourself. Kinda. But also, personally, I think the real point of self-awareness isn't just figuring out who you are. It's about having the tools to build who you intentionally become in alignment with your energy. Now, if you've been hanging out with us for the last 7 episodes, you know we've basically been running a giant emotional garage sale. We've been tossing out a lot of junk. We threw out the stress, we recycled the distractions, we kicked fear and self-doubt to the curb, and we stopped hoarding those dusty old self-judgments and stories that frankly weren't very accurate or very attractive. Like it all. Clearing out the emotional junk garage is great, but nobody wants to just pull up a lawn chair and live in an empty garage forever. Well, I'm partial to barn dominiums, so a 1,200 square foot house with a 10,000 square foot garage would suit me pretty well. But maybe that's just me. Self-awareness was never the final destination. I've basically said that every step of the way. But wait, there's more. It's not the trophy at the end of the race. It's just the prerequisite. It's like stretching before a workout or doing the dishes before you cook a massive feast. It's the prep work. Because once you've stripped away all the clutter, the noise, and the things that aren't you, you're left standing in this beautiful empty space with one absolutely massive, slightly terrifying, but incredibly exciting question. So what do I want to make from here? What is the story that you want to tell with your life? Today, we are talking about creativity. And no, you don't need to go buy watercolors, and I'm not going to force you to learn the ukulele. Don't panic. We're talking about creativity as the ultimate DIY project, designing your own life. So let's dive in.
I think the only thing that I'll tack on to that is for me a lot of that healing, like you were talking about, brushing stuff away until you find some holy grail of yourself. But a lot of it was just about being willing to look at the stuff that I didn't like and learn how to love those parts. Yeah, nobody tells you that in the beginning. But you find out if you're doing it right.
Well, if we told you, you wouldn't come back. That is
potentially a very valid point.
That is part of the bait and switch of healing. This is going to be fun, guys. It's going to be great. You're going to be showing all the parts of yourself that you don't like and asked to love that part too. Ooh. Yeah, we don't put that in the brochure.
No, it's not even fine print.
Yeah, I need people knowing that. We have officially reached episode 8 about self-awareness, the grand finale of our 2-month epic saga into the wide world of self-awareness. Give yourselves a pat on the back if you've been here for all 8 episodes. We made it. If you haven't heard all the episodes on self-awareness, give yourself a treat and go back to episode 45 and start listening from there. For the last 8 weeks, we've been slowly building a massive framework. First, we tackled inner awareness. We got calm, we made a connection, and we found some clarity. And we survived the existential dread of looking inward. Then we took that show on the road with outer awareness. We practiced courage, built some confidence, found our compassion, and tapped into our inner toddler with some serious curiosity. Each of these was a stepping stone. And you know, nobody goes on a hike just to stand on a stepping stone and say, wow, look at this incredibly average rock I'm standing on. You use them to get to the other side. And today we have officially reached the other side. We have arrived at the keystone, the holy grail, the VIP lounge of self-awareness, creativity. This is the moment where all that hard work you've been doing for the last 2 months starts paying dividends. Awareness on its own is great, but awareness without action is just watching yourself live. It's like sitting on the couch watching a movie of your own life, eating popcorn and yelling at the screen. You don't want to be a mere observer. Awareness without action is just a thought experiment. But awareness expressed, that is pure, unmixed, not stepped on creation. So let's talk about how we start building. Now, when I say the word creativity, I can practically feel some of you tensing up. You're immediately thinking of people in black turtlenecks, sipping espresso, arguing about brushstrokes, or writing 800-page novels. And if that's you, you're probably thinking, great, I can't even draw a convincing stick figure. This episode isn't for me. But hang on. Creativity is so much bigger than museum galleries and self-indulgent conversations about the process. Creativity is just a fancy word for problem solving with style. It's taking whatever random ingredients you have in the fridge and somehow making an edible dinner. It's synthesizing, combining, and coming up with a new way of responding to a situation that you've never faced before. Every awkward family dinner that you've successfully navigated, that's creativity. Every time you negotiate with a toddler or a difficult boss or your spouse about whose turn it is to empty the dishwasher, pure high-stakes creativity. The second life throws a curveball at you that wasn't in your handbook and your memory stops working, you can't just copy and paste your way out of it. And that is where creativity begins, right where your memory ends. We always talk about the world's greatest masterpieces being symphonies or classic literature or even tech startups. It's more. The absolute greatest, most complex, most high-stakes work of art you will ever design is just your normal everyday life. Your daily routine, your relationship habits, how you handle a crisis, how you spend your Tuesday afternoons. These aren't just things that happen to you. They are your medium. Right now, you're holding the paintbrush. Every boundary you set is a clean line on the canvas. Every courageous conversation you have changes the entire composition of your day. And honestly, every time you choose to go to sleep instead of doom scrolling at 1 a.m., you're adding a beautiful, soothing layer of primer to the background. The truth is, you're already creating your life every single day. You can't opt out of it. The only real question is, are you painting with your eyes open, and are you intentional? Or are you just flailing around in the dark hoping it looks like abstract art or an accidental life? So let's start painting on purpose.
The theory of multiple intelligence. Yeah, that's what came to mind when you were talking about the different ways to be creative, which I think is really beautiful because I do think that's one word, much like the word intelligence, it's kind of categorized very narrowly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's kind of a beautiful concept to like step back and
Yeah, there are, you may not be well read, you may not be able to do math, but maybe you can put flavor together, and because of that you make these incredible meals. That's a form of creativity. One I don't have.
it just makes me think of my friend that can't spell, but he does all the work on my car and has since I bought it. And I will always trust him to do so because he's one of the best mechanics I know.
Exactly.
Can't spell for shit. Super smart guy.
Now you might be wondering, why did we wait 8 whole weeks to talk about creativity? Why is this the grand finale instead of the starting point? Because, my friends, trying to be creative while your life is a chaotic mess is like trying to paint a watercolor masterpiece while riding a unicycle through a hurricane. It's just not going to end well. You're allowed to laugh out loud.
Just curious if it's from personal experience. Like, did you come to this conclusion on your own?
Yeah. I have a vivid imagination. Creativity isn't where this journey begins. It's the luxury resort you get to check into after you've survived the hike. When you are drowning in anxiety and just trying to keep your head above water, your brain is in survival mode. You don't have the bandwidth to design an elegant life. You're just trying to firefight to keep the fires at a minimum. Like no fires isn't even the goal, just not an inferno in your dumpster. Here's the framework for why we needed the other 7 episodes first. Without connection, you're totally disconnected from yourself. How are you supposed to build a life you love if you don't even know who is living it? You'll just end up building someone else's dream house. Without clarity, you have absolutely no idea where to point the paintbrush. You're just throwing the paint at the wall, hoping it hits something. And without courage, you never open the sketchbook. You just stare at the blank page in terror. Without confidence, you write one paragraph, decide it's garbage, and throw your computer out the window. Without compassion, your inner critic, who is a real jerk, by the way, shows up and shreds your work before the paint even has a chance to dry. And without curiosity, you just keep painting the exact same sad beige square over and over again because you're too afraid to try a new color. To be self-indulgent about creativity, it took me years to figure this out. I'm sure the Buddha said it sooner and better than I did. Very mean, the Buddha. He didn't leave anything for the rest of us to talk about, really. Every single pillar we've talked about over the last 2 months was just clearing the ground, pouring the concrete, and setting up the scaffolding, the foundation and the framework. Creativity isn't some extra chore you have to force yourself to do. It's the beautiful, natural thing that happens when you stop fighting yourself, stop hiding, and have the breathing room to look around and say, okay, now let's have some fun. We've all heard that classic, slightly dramatic phrase, I'm going on a trip to find myself. Usually this involves some retreat to Bali, eating a lot of quinoa, and buying a pair of harem pants that you will hopefully never wear again. You don't actually find yourself. It's not like you're a set of car keys that slip down the back of the sofa. The real work of self-awareness isn't about finding anything. It's about doing some serious, aggressive, emotional decluttering. It's removing all the random stuff you've accumulated over the years that isn't actually you. From the second we're born, we are basically giant walking magnets for everyone else's opinions. Your parents handed you some beliefs, your teachers handed you some more, then came culture, religion, and whatever the TikTok algorithm decided you should care about this morning. Heaven forbid you actually listen to the mainstream news. Add in a sprinkle of rainbow jimmies of trauma and a healthy dose of constructive criticism from that one boss you hated, and suddenly you're carrying around this massive heavy suitcase of beliefs that you didn't even pack yourself. Some of those beliefs are pretty useful, but a lot of them are the emotional equivalent of a box of knickknacks you've been moving from house to house for 10 years without ever opening. Self-awareness is just opening up that box, picking up each belief, and asking, does this belong to me? Is this even mine? Does this still fit, or is this just taking up real estate? And this is where breathwork comes in. Breathwork is like a giant magical leaf blower for your mind. It has this incredible way of muting the loud, urgent, screaming thoughts so that the important stuff can emerge. It quiets the monkey mind. Not so some guru, like me, I'm not a guru, I believe that, can step in and tell you who you are, but so you can feel your own energy. I, in fact, am never going to tell you who you are. That's your job. Your job isn't to go out and manufacture a shiny new identity. Your job is just to clear out enough space in your own head so that the authentic energy of you can stretch its legs, look around, and say, oh, thank goodness, I never thought they'd leave. So let's talk about the canvas. Some people assume breathwork is going to magically paint this gorgeous, flawless picture of their future self. It doesn't. You still have free agency. Breathwork doesn't paint the picture for you. It just clears the canvas. Imagine you're ready to paint a masterpiece, but your canvas is already completely covered in hundreds of other people's messy doodles. You've got your mom's anxiety over here, your high school gym teacher's opinion of your physical coordination over there, and your ex's weirdly specific criticisms right in the middle. You can't even see your own paint. Breathwork doesn't hand you a paintbrush and tell you what to paint. It just takes a giant metaphysical sponge and wipes all that old, crusty paint away. It gives you a blank slate so you can finally start creating from intention instead of just reacting to your childhood conditioning. Kids don't file for a permit before they build an imaginary kingdom. They don't hold a committee meeting before turning the living room couch cushions into a fortress to escape lava. They imagine dragons. They invent games where the rules change every 5 minutes. We are talking about pure, chaotic Calvin ball. Shout out to any Calvin and Hobbes fans out there. And crucially, kids do not lay in bed at night wondering if their fort was good enough or if it will get enough engagement on the gram. They're just playing. But somewhere along the road to adulthood, we stopped playing and started performing. We started trying to get it right. I absolutely suck when I'm trying to get it right. We get stiff, we get boring, we lose all our magic because we're terrified of looking foolish. We want to be impressive. We want to be perfect. The first 45 episodes of this podcast weren't as good as they could be because I wanted to get it right. But perfection is the absolute number one assassin of creativity. Perfection stands over your shoulder, crossing its arms and asking, but what if they don't like it? How do we avoid criticism? Meanwhile, creativity is over in the corner, covered in glitter, asking, hey, I wonder what happens if we mix these two colors together and see what happens. Play isn't some lazy, unproductive waste of time. Play is the actual laboratory where innovation, transformation, and your best ideas are born. Apparently, I can't say the word born. 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 There we go.
There you go. Third time's a charm.
So let's put down the ruler, pick up the couch cushions, and start playing again.
I saw something on social media the other day that said, I hope you heal hard enough that you decorate your house and pick up your old hobbies. And it felt like I got punched in the stomach.
Hey, reality, hold Riley still real quick while I gut punch him. There's a little corner here in the studio that's still waiting for your art.
Yeah.
Didn't even see that coming, did you? I mean, I wound it up and gave it like a 2-day UPS delivery.
Believe it or not, I knew exactly where you were going.
Still.
It's never that far from my mind.
Okay, good. Not saying I thought about it last week, but I sure did.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that perfectionism can cut off creativity at its knees and make it feel obligatory, which ruins it completely and immediately.
Yeah, a lot of times that's why drugs hurt with creativity, because it quiets the criticism and the need for creativity. It's also why I think a lot of times last minute panic is where the creativity happens, or where there's that burst of creativity and productivity, is because the harm of missing the deadline is now greater than the perceived harm of not doing it perfectly.
Yeah. The risk and reward
has finally switched.
Yeah, it switches.
Yes.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Hey, brain, let's switch into that magical place. Last minute panic.
Immediately. Go.
We're so productive.
Yes, and then that gives you the opportunity to later wear like a weird badge of courage how well you operate under pressure.
Yeah. It's one of the beauties of this podcast for me, is that every week is the deadline.
And I feel, just personally for me, like I feel like it is not the flex I want it to be. You know what I mean? Hurt my own feelings. But like in a good way.
Yes.
For the betterment of me. Not like in a bad way.
So let's talk about that weird magical whisper we call intuition. Because something really fascinating happens when you get your mind to hush up for 5 minutes. Ideas start showing up. And they don't show up because you sat at your desk, gritting your teeth, staring at a blank document, and forcing your brain to produce genius. Think harder. They show up because you finally stop badgering yourself. Look, our conscious mind is great, but it is a little limited. Your conscious brain can only process a tiny fraction of what's happening around you. Meanwhile, your subconscious is in the background like a super-powered, hyper-observant detective, constantly noticing patterns, filing away data, and connecting dots that your conscious mind completely missed because it was too busy worrying about a passive-aggressive email. Sometimes the breakthrough answer doesn't arrive because you thought harder. It arrives because you stop thinking entirely. Don't believe me? Where do you get your absolute best, world-changing, Nobel Prize-worthy ideas? It's never when you're staring at a spreadsheet. It's in the shower, or while you're staring blankly out the window during a drive, or when you're taking a walk and trying to remember if penguins have knees. It's not an accident. Your brain isn't just holding out on you until you get wet and soapy. A relaxed mind is a fertile ground. When you turn down the volume of your active thoughts, your subconscious finally gets a turn on the microphone. 2 trailer park girls go around the outside. That's usually the first thing my subconscious says. No, I'm not saying you should throw logic out the window and live your life entirely based on vibes. Analysis and intuition aren't sworn enemies locked in a turf war. They're actually the ultimate buddy cop partnership. Intuition is the eccentric artist. It throws wild, beautiful, slightly chaotic suggestions at you, and analysis is the practical builder. It takes those crazy ideas, grabs a tape measure, and refines them into something that is effective. One imagines and the other builds. And the wisest people aren't just cold calculating robots, they aren't floating around on clouds of pure feeling either. They use both. They let intuition pitch the dream, and they let analysis do the heavy lifting. So the next time you're stuck on a massive life problem, put down the notebook, go take a ridiculously long shower, let your inner genius do its job. Now let's talk about the waiters. And no, I don't mean the lovely people who bring you breadsticks at Olive Garden. I mean the people who spend their entire lives sitting in the waiting room of their own existence. Not you, of course, my gentle, brilliant listener. You are an action taker. You are a mover and a shaker. But some people, they're waiting. They're waiting until they feel ready. They're waiting until they magically wake up with 100% confidence. They're waiting for the lightning bolt from the heavens to strike them with a 45-page step-by-step PDF detailing exactly what to do with their lives. Spoiler alert, that PDF is not coming. Maybe you can ask ChatGPT for it. You still need to be able to tell ChatGPT what you're looking for. A great life is not discovered by sitting on your phone and waiting for your name to be called. It is created by jumping into the arena and taking some messy, massive action. What is massive action? What's it actually look like? Because we think massive means we have to quit our jobs tomorrow, sell all our worldly possessions, and move to a yurt in Mongolia. A couple months back, I was having a difficult time. A friend asked me, like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm like, I'm going to burn this place down and move out into the desert by myself. He's like, I'm going with you. And I'm like, maybe you missed the part where I said I was going by myself. You need to go find your own desert. That didn't work out for me. Obviously, I didn't burn everything down and leave.
Yeah.
It would have been nice.
I understand the feeling.
It would be a lot cooler if it worked that way, honestly. Very dramatic, great for a movie montage, but in the real world, creation is a game of micro moves. It's tiny, almost imperceptible brushstrokes over and over again. A better relationship, it's created one slightly awkward, uncomfortable, but honest conversation at a time. A healthier body, it's created one workout and one decent meal and one vegetable that isn't covered in cheese at a time. I think that's a heresy. Vegetables are inedible without cheese. I'm going to die on that. A meaningful career is created one tiny courageous decision, one boundary setting email at a time. And a peaceful mind created right here, right now, one single breath at a time. You don't need to paint the whole ceiling of the Sistine Chapel by Tuesday. You pick up the brush today, put one tiny dot of paint on the canvas, and then show up again and do it again tomorrow. Get out of the waiting room. Grab your brush. Let's make some art. So if you do all this, if you clean the canvas, start playing Calvin ball, and actually take those messy action steps, where does it lead? Well, ideally, it leads to fulfillment. And fulfillment's not a scavenger hunt collecting passport stamps or buying expensive toys or hoarding epic experiences like they're trying to win a game of life bingo. Look at me. I did it. Yoga on a cliff in Bali. Am I fulfilled yet? No. Real fulfillment doesn't come from what you collect or even experience. It comes from what you express. It's the magic that happens when you project who you are out into the world. And that expression fills you with energy. And here's the secret formula for fulfillment. It's doing work or creating something that pumps energy back into your battery while also making other people say, wow, I really appreciate that. It's a two-way street of good vibes. That's why doing yoga on the beach in Bali is eventually empty. It's a one-way street. And when your outer life, your job, your relationships, your daily schedule finally start reflecting your deep down inner values, a weird thing happens. You stop chasing. You don't need to chase the next trend or the next promotion or the next shiny distraction because you're already right where you need to be. You simply get to become more you. The psychologists call this actualization or achieving your full potential. It's not about becoming some highly optimized, robotically better version of yourself or the hustle culture. It's just about becoming a truer version of yourself. No filters, no masks, no pretending. What you see is what you get. That you are 1% transparent. Sometimes that means we're brilliant. Sometimes it means we're a total mess. But it's always us. There's no performance. Living your life with that kind of transparency is the ultimate cheat code. It's much less exhausting than trying to present to be something that you're not to fit in. When I was writing this, one of the things that I am completely transparent, I am not an open book. What you see is what you get. What you see with me is what shows up. That said, there's also large swaths of my life that I never discuss publicly or even with friends. It's like, no, this is mine. I'll keep it to me. And I'm pretty comfortable with that. I am hopefully not putting too many words in your mouth. I'm going to guess the first 6 months to a year when you were hanging out with us, you thought, this guy's full of shit. And there's no way that he actually lives like this all the time.
The thought crept into my head once or twice.
Like, eventually he's going to crack. Eventually he's going to crumble. And then I'll see what he's really like.
This is pretty close to the truth.
Yeah. And then at some point you're like, either this motherfucker never breaks character or that's just who he is.
Yeah, just being the type of person that I am, there was not so much assuredness. It was more like a lack of being able. It was like the shoe will drop eventually situation.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it hasn't happened, so
yeah,
I expect it.
Any day now I'm gonna break character and go, psych.
Fooled you.
Tricks on you.
Damn it, Dark Helmet.
Which brings us to, how does conscious connected breathwork help you express your creativity that I believe is innate in you? Your creativity is natural, it is unlearned. That breathwork regulates your nervous system. It reconnects you to your body, it increases awareness, it quiets the internal noise, it strengthens your intuition, it helps you release emotional patterns that have quietly been directing your decisions for years. It doesn't give you your purpose, it gives you access to yourself. And once you have access to yourself, creativity becomes natural because you're no longer trying to create someone else's life. You're creating your own. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm mad because there was something and now I can't remember what it was. That's okay. It's probably gone forever.
Okay.
Or I'll think about it 10 minutes after we're done recording. There's no weird third option. It's going to be one of those two things.
Well, I've certainly never had the experience where I'm on my morning walk tomorrow and go, that would have been gold, Jerry. Gold.
Yeah, that's happened to me a couple times, full times.
Where was this idea yesterday? You have failed me.
Which is part of what I love so much, is being able to get that processing, the download, and then, yeah, when shit like that starts occurring to me, I'm like, oh, I do understand. It is going in. It's staying in. Awesome.
Things are happening.
Yeah.
And so, my friends, we've reached the end of this leg of the journey. 8 episodes, 8 weeks, calm, connection, clarity, courage, confidence, compassion, curiosity, and finally, creativity. Each one was a step, each one was a hammer gently chipping away another piece of the barrier between you and your authentic self. The energy you, because self-awareness is ultimately about waking up. It's waking up to who you are and to who you were before fear, expectation, and societal conditioning convinced you that you needed to be someone else. All of this preparation, all of this knowing yourself, it was never meant to be a thought experiment. It was so you could finally express yourself. The purpose of healing isn't just to talk about your wounds forever. The purpose of healing is living fully without restraint, hopefully without pain, and with a full, beautiful range of motion. And the purpose of awareness, it's creation. It is fulfillment, actualization, transcending the limits of who you thought you were so that you could have a life of elegance. Your masterpiece, the absolute best thing you will ever make, is unlikely to hang in a museum. It won't be framed on a gallery wall. It'll be found in the people you loved, the difficult conversations you choose to have, the quiet courage you showed when no one else was looking, the kindness you offered to a stranger and to yourself, the problems you solved, and the life you consciously, actively chose to create. Because the most profound thing you will ever design is yourself. Over a century ago, the poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote a piece called The Builders that captured this perfectly. He wrote, "All are architects of fate, working in these walls of time, some with massive deeds and great, some with ornaments of rhyme. Nothing useless is or low, each thing in its place is best, and what seems best idle show strengthens and supports the rest. For the structure that we raise, time is with materials filled, are todays and yesterdays, and the blocks with which we build. Truly shape and fashion these, leave no yawning gaps between. Think not because no man sees, such things will remain unseen. In the elder days of art, builders wrought with greatest care, each minute and unseen part, for the gods see everywhere. Let us do our work as well, both the unseen and the seen. Make the house where gods may dwell, beautiful, entire, and clean. Else our lives are incomplete, standing in these walls of time, broken stairways where the feet stumble as they seek to climb. Build today, and then strong and sure, with a firm and ample base, and ascending and secure, shall tomorrow find its place." And that was The Builders by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Your life is the structure. Today and yesterday are your building blocks. So, gentle listener, take a deep breath, pick up the brush, and begin. How you breathe is how you live. Take a breath into the unknown.